All right, good morning and happy National Gumdrop Day. So hopefully you guys can find yourselves some sweet and sugary candy to celebrate the day. So what we're going to do this week is focus on the cell signaling part. So this last week we really were looking at the responses to cell signaling. So when we were looking at the regulation, both eukaryotic and prokaryotic, though that's all happens because of cell signaling. And so what we're going to get into this week is the cell signaling. And we're going to do a lab with the PCR and electrophoresis again, this time on your own cells, looking at sleep, because the sleep mechanisms, like in the way that we sleep and when we sleep, is actually directed by chemical signaling. And there's some genetic propensities to whether you're a night owl or a morning person. So that's what we're going to look at with that. The other thing you guys are going to look at is one of my favorite TED Talks. I know I probably say that about all of them. But this one is, it's from Bonnie Bessler, and she is a microbiologist, and she's a dynamic speaker. You guys will, I think you'll really enjoy her. And you'll get a chance to hear her research on how bacteria actually talk to each other. It's called Quorum Sensing, and how these bacteria are able to use that to work together like a multicelled organism and do things together, even though they're all unicellular and individual organisms. So it's quite interesting, and it does a really good job of introducing you to this idea of the chemical signals and how chemical signals trigger cells to do things. So for the lab, it looks like this. And what you guys are going to do today at home is to just, for the knowledge probe, you're going to read through this. There's not specific questions to answer. I just want you to kind of take note of things that are interesting to you as you're reading, or you feel like might be helpful to you in terms of explaining things. It is using, and kind of addressing your circadian rhythm, okay, and looking at that. This is where you've got the chemical signaling happening in the molecules, and obviously the sunlight is what's dictating that, which is why we have jet lag and those kinds of things. So this is a really nice image. It's similar to, like how you were seeing these images in the Pivot lab, where you were looking at the yeast and the galactose regulation. This one is looking at the biological clock, and so these are the genes that we're targeting here, are these PER2, PER1, PER2 genes and what they look like. Oh, here's the cytoplasm. Again, there's kinases involved. Remember, kinases are these enzymes that are phosphorylating things, and so as those are being phosphorylated, that's where you're getting the signaling path and following that along, which is triggering what's going to happen in terms of whether you are ready to sleep, not ready to sleep, that kind of stuff. And so this is kind of looking at your circadian rhythm and the molecular level there. What you're going to do is, what we're looking at is a genetic variant in that PER3 gene, which is part of that feedback loop. And there's different repeats in there. And depending on the different repeats is, and that's what this vintner is. Tandem repeats are just like where a piece of the chromosome gets cut out, copied, and put back in. So you have this repeating sequence there. And so that's what we're going to target in the PCR, is that. And then the length of it will tell us kind of the number of repeats that you have. And then that plays a role in your preference in terms of when you sleep or prefer to sleep. So make sure you read through that. This is the part that's going to kind of just really help you make sense of kind of the data that you're seeing. So this explains that part here, where you're looking at if you have a 4 repeat or a 5 repeat, again, of that specific sequence in those genes. And then that leads to whether you're more of a morning person or a night person. So what you're going to actually do, though, for the prediction, and this is what you guys will do today at home, is do this questionnaire. So you'll click on the link, and as you go through the document, just write down the numbers that you feel you are as you answer the question. So, like at what time do you get up If you got to plan your day, you were free to plan it, when would you prefer to get up? So you're going to just, like, on a piece of paper somewhere, record if your answer would be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And do that for all the questions. And then when you get done, it has you scoring it. So then you can interpret your data and you'll figure that out using this key. Okay, so you'll use the key. It tells you kind of where you fall within those numbers. All right, so don't cheat and look it up and, skew your data. And that's all you guys will do today at home. And then what we'll do in class is collect your samples, kind of talk through the science a little bit more, and then we are also going to talk about cell signaling when you guys are in the classroom. So I hope you have a great day. If you get stuck, let me know. You can jump onto the open office hours at the end of the day at 2:15, and we can hopefully clarify anything for you. All right, have a great day.